Are you ready? Stand by.
This podcast is brought to you by Breda USA, Italian shotguns that are the best in the world. And this is a shotgun tech tip from Team Breda. Hey, this is Dave Hartman from the 3 Gun Show, and I'm with Tina Martin-Nims from Team Breda, and we are going to learn about choke selection.
So before you go out to the match, you want to make sure that you have an understanding of how what your chokes are patterned at. So what I like to do is I have my 3 main chokes that I usually use, which is a spreader, an IC, an improved cylinder, and a mod. And I set my targets out at 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. And it's just like a knockover steel and a flipper. And I test to see what those how they perform at those distances with the ammo that I typically use. And so when I go out onto a stage, I already know that at, say, 35 yards, I can use my mod choke and knock it out. And I'll be ready to go.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's your tech tip from Tina Martin-Nims of Team Breda. Check out Breda's B12i 3-gun ready inertia-driven shotgun at BredaUSA.com. That's BREDA. This podcast is brought to you by LAG Tactical. I've been using LAG gear for 3 years now, and I just got an upgrade into their new for 2018 MCS mag pouches. MCS stands for Modular Carry System and is a 2-piece design that fits most double-stack 9 and 40 mags and most AR mags. That means I can loan gear to someone in need on the range, even if we're shooting different guns. I've been using these pouches for many matches now, and they've been great. I like that you can choose the retention based on what is required by the stage, Speed Demon or locked in tight. I've been shooting the low-cut Supernova holster as well, and it has been a dream. They make it in a mid and high cut too if you're into that, but I'm digging the low cut, super fast draws, and plenty of retention when you need it. Check them out, lagtactical.com, and use code 3GS in all caps to save yourself 10% when placing an order. Hey there, and welcome to the 3 Gun Show. I'm your host, Dave Hartman. If you're new here, our regular Wednesday show is a deep dive into the mindset, training, and techniques of the best practical shooters in the world. What you're listening to now is a Match Recon podcast where we have a shooter run down a set criteria and give you the tools needed to excel when shooting the match that we're covering. I do a lot of these recons myself, and if I didn't shoot the match, I interview one of the amazing people in our community that did. This is the replay of the Recon podcast that supporters of the 3 Gun Show on Patreon got to listen to real time. Patreon is a subscription-based service that allows you, the listener, to support creators like myself on a monthly basis. I can't thank the patrons enough for their support of the 3 Gun Show, which helps me to continue bringing regular, high-quality content to you. If you dig the work that I'm doing on the podcast, on YouTube, on Instagram, etc., consider supporting the show with a few bucks each week at patreon.com/3gunshow. That's Patreon. Show notes, including a written breakdown of all the recon criteria, can be found at 3gunshow.com. Just search for the name of this match. Now enjoy this match recon, and I'll see you on the range. Welcome to the 3 Gun Show. I'm your host, Dave Hartman, and this is a special match recon episode brought to you by Armalite, and I'm here with my guest host, Adam Maxwell.
Man, I got a promotion. You didn't even tell me.
Well, you're going to get a demotion next one we do to special field correspondent. But this one, you're the host since I ran the
I didn't have a
the
speech
match.
prepared, so.
Like to thank PWS Rifles, ORM Tech,
Vortex Optics, Hawkeye Ignite, Mom and Dad.
Mom and Dad. Well, dude, I shot a match last weekend.
Did you?
Yeah, it was really fun. It was in Kentucky, which of course means that it was hot and sweaty and hot.
And sweaty.
And sweaty. But it was a good time.
All right.
Yeah.
That seems to be how they kind of roll down there in Kentucky.
Yeah.
They should take a cue from us up here, maybe get some seasons, spread it around a little bit.
It's super stinking hot like every time I'm there.
Maybe talk faster.
And wet. It's hot and wet.
Does it rain a lot this time of year down there?
Interesting you mentioned that.
Like I've only gone to Rockcastle in the fall.
Yeah.
And in the fall, I mean, that's prime time for
rain in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like it rains no matter when I'm there. And this was no exception. So,
I mean, Brian Corey was there. Obviously, it rained.
Right. So, so fun fact. So we'll get into that in a minute here, but didn't rain during the match.
Didn't rain during the match. Well, then it doesn't count.
Yep. So I think the curse is broken. Brian Corey and I were in the same place at the same time. Didn't rain. The curse is broken.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't have to wipe down your guns and you didn't have to whip out
I forgot to wipe down my guns.
If you didn't have to whip out whatever sort of plasticky thing you wear when it perspirates from the sky, then I mean that's a win.
Yeah, it was just stinking hot. I mean, it was humid, so pretty sure I didn't take my shotgun out of my bag, so I'll probably pull it out and it'll be all rusted tomorrow. But because I forgot that I'm not in Colorado, but
it's gonna have a patina.
It's gonna have a patina. Yeah, it's gonna look real nice.
Should bring it to a pawn shop and see if they'll.
So check this out. So Friday or Thursday, the night before the match, going over my long range notes and stuff like that, stage notes and everything.
So you're looking at your homepage?
Looking at my homepage.
On your phone?
Yes. Looking at my homepage on my phone, along with Evernote, which I wrote down the distances of the targets we're shooting tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I hear, and it just dumps.
It's starting.
It's freaking raining. It's raining a lot. We beat all get out.
And you're like, I can't bring me anywhere.
Exactly. My phone goes, and I look, and I got a Facebook message from Brian Corey.
Oh, I thought you were going to say flash flood warning.
No. I got a Facebook message from Brian Corey, and he says, "You're DQ'd for the rain." So the next day it was bright and sunny, and we didn't have any rain the rest of the time. But it was interesting when I got to the first stage was in Thunder Valley that we shot, and with all that rain dumping on that CRP grass, and then the sun coming up, it was so stinking humid in there.
Oh,
like just walking around, you were managing fog in your glasses and everything. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
I can handle the humidity.
Yeah.
Don't be fogging up my glasses,
Yeah.
man.
I got targets to shoot, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
That's where it's like you cross the line from the funny suck to the we're not having fun anymore.
yeah.
when your glasses fog up.
Yeah, and we usually cover this in funny stuff that happened on the range or like the day factor, but there was actually one target that at the end of our first stage that I just stopped shooting at because I could not see the reticle.
Yeah.
I could not see the
And
target.
you didn't even cheat over the top to see.
Well, so I'm too smart for that. So what I put those little
Chico underneath.
croaky things on there, right?
Yeah.
Where they strap to the back of your head because they're those Oakley tombstones.
Oh, man.
And they're big, right? So they tend to fall off when I'm running. So I got those little bands that go behind your head so you don't lose them. And then now they're tight enough that I can't look over the top. So I was hosed.
You clearly need to go to some Travis Haley classes because he teaches that his dad told him that you always got to have a way out.
Oh, in a dynamic of adaptive environment,
right?
In a high stress situation,
right. So you just head cinched
you're in
your way out
1% of your life.
Yeah. Hey man, you need that back door. I mean, you need to be able to do the quick head nod so your glasses fall down a little bit so you can see over the top.
It's like a Ronin thing too, like Robert De Niro and Ronin.
I of course have never done this because that would be dangerous and against the
why
rules,
would you do that?
But I hear people do it, allegedly.
Well, I would have done it at the time if I could have, but I couldn't have because they were stuck to my head. But let's start from the start, man. So
start at the beginning.
Let's do it. So the match that I shot was the 2017 Rockcastle Pro-Am, which was last weekend.
How many times have they done the Pro-Am? Is this like a 5th anniversary?
5th or 6th or something like that?
Do
you know for sure?
I think they were still talking about it in like 13 or 14. So I'm not sure if it was It would be if they would have done one in 2012. It would have been the 5th year.
Yeah, I'll buy 5. I'm gonna go with 5. If we're wrong,
I feel like they would have made a bigger deal out of it.
If we're wrong, put the comment in the show notes. Probably 4 then. All right, so that was August 18th through the 20th, and Park City, Kentucky is where that was at. It's a time plus penalties. It's a points match, and it is run on the Rockcastle Pro-Am rule set.
Did they have the redonkulously short par times again this year?
Some guys are stage timed out, but they didn't seem ridiculous.
I heard one year they had like 100-second par times or something crazy that.
Some of them were about that.
Like enormous amounts of people were timing out.
They were adequate par times this year.
Sweet.
For me. And
Sweet.
You've seen me shoot, so you know.
Right.
So, sign up and the results were on practice score. I actually signed up late because I took a dude's spot that wasn't going to shoot. So I didn't get any.
You scalped a spot?
I did.
Like out on the street?
Dude, my boy Jeremy Gresham hooked me up, man. So he was going to shoot the match, but he had a training that he had to attend as the instructor, so he wasn't going to be able to make it in there to shoot. And he's like, Dave, need a spot to Pro-Am? I was like, dude, yeah, I need a spot to Pro-Am. And that's how I got it.
Of course I need a spot to Pro-Am. Everyone needs a spot to Pro-Am.
Heck yeah. So I can't comment on any of the pre-communication stuff, and we'll get into that coming up. But sign up and the results were on practice score. And when I signed up, Linda was super nice about it. She was like, yeah, we got you here. And so when I got there, Linda was totally cool about it. We signed in, got me signed up for it, told her, what the deal was with Jeremy and everything. And then she put me on a squad that was open, and I got to shoot with a bunch of dudes from Kentucky, which was real cool. And she forwarded me an email.
Were any of them named Brian?
No.
Oh.
Most dudes in Kentucky are named Brian, but no one on my squad was.
How's that work? It's like a statistical anomaly.
So the email that she had forwarded me was like a list of like, okay, so here's the map of the facility, here's the squad matrix. This is kind of the general schedule of the place. So there was some pre-communication that I was not privy to. I did get that on the day I signed up. So this is a 3-day match. It is 8 stages. So three stages first day, 3 stages second day, 2 stages the last day on Sunday. And it's a half-day format for Friday and Saturday, and Sunday is an on-off format.
If we digress a little bit.
This is about the Brian thing again?
No, but, we could. So, on the whole, you go to a lot of matches, right?
I do.
It's kind of your thing.
Mm-hmm.
I go to a lot of matches. When I first got into matches, they were, all 3-day matches.
Yes.
And they were, all alternating schedule matches.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like now more and more events are going to 2-day formats.
Mm-hmm.
And it's certainly a viable option now to do the half-day format. Do you see on the whole matches also? Do you see this trend as well, where there's
so.
more 2-day matches? And how do you feel about the 2 versus 3-day format?
So sometimes, I've been to matches where the 3-day format feels forced, and it's like, well, shit, these stages are so short.
It didn't have to be a 3-day.
Didn't have to be a 3-day, and if we do another match Recon this weekend, I'll tell you about that one. But and then I've been to matches like Blue Ridge. Granted, I didn't shoot all 3 days, but they were long enough and strenuous enough that the on-off format was good.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a big fan of the half-day format match because I don't as a competitor, as a sportsman or whatever, do very well at getting pumped and then chilling for an hour, and then getting pumped and then chilling for an hour, and then getting pumped and chilling for an hour. I want to be pumped for 3 hours straight, shoot all my shit, and then bail. And then I can do my adrenaline dump. When you got to do getting pumped up, doing adrenaline dump, pumped up, doing adrenaline dump, I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like being up for the whole match in multi-hour blocks rather than just we're going to shoot for 30 minutes and then we're going to take a 2-hour break.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's dumb. And I hear the argument of, Well, everything is so far spread out that you can't do it that way. You know, it takes time to travel the stages. Mm-hmm. And the only one I will allow that on is Rocky Mountain 3 Gun. And that's at the Whittington Center. However, I think with the proper schedule, you can make it work there too. The Pro-Am proved to me that you can actually make the half-day format work in Rockcastle. Because everyone has said, you know, Rockcastle's too big. You can't do the half-day format there. Well, Pro-Am just did it, so that's not true. And the funny thing was, so there was 3 stages in general areas, right? Mm-hmm. So like Thunder Valley, there was 3 stages. And so you would think like those were 6, 7, and 8. So you think you shoot 6, 7, and 8 in one day, and then you'd go shoot the other ones or whatever. Mm-hmm. No. We shot 2 in Thunder Valley, and then 1 over by the Red Barn, which is by the Sporting Clays. And then we came back on Sunday and shot the one that we didn't shoot in Thunder Valley. So I feel like that schedule could have been better handled. Mm-hmm. But we still never arrived at a stage late. So
interesting.
Half-day format. Texas 3-Gun Championship, it's a big match, and the 3 days definitely makes sense there. Mm-hmm. I think if you took, like, we both shot the 3-Gun Nation Southwest Regional, the Texas match. If you tried to force that to 3 days, that would just be dumb, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So if it's 3 days, it would have to be 10 stages.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I can go either way on which schedule they use, but I am kind of torn on the 2 versus 3 day format, because when I started, or when I didn't go to as many, I was of the opinion, and I still kind of am, that like if you're gonna go all this way, you're gonna go through all the motions. The motions are the same to go to a 2-day or a 3-day match. Like, I'm all the way here. Let's shoot some guns. Like, a lot, But at the same time, like, opportunity cost wise and assets and things that, that you can negotiate. It's harder to negotiate to go to a 3-day match than it is.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you've got like a family or something like that. Yeah. Like, we're a couple of single guys, so only obligation we have is work or something, right?
Right, yeah. So you kind of cross this line from, it's just a long weekend into, it's like a week-long
Well, and then you look
trek.
At Rocky Mountain, and it's 4 days.
Yeah.
For no good reason. What do they do Sunday?
I have no opinion of that. But that is what I've heard.
Sunday is like a shoot-off amongst like 3 teams. So you have, and this is a little bit of hyperbole, but you have, 9 to 16 people shooting while 254 are doing nothing. And then you do a prize table.
Yep.
Like, that seems like a waste of time.
I would concur.
Yeah. But, that said, that's their prerogative. Everyone knows going in. But, yeah, I wish we would have had this discussion on the other match recon that I have, because it was a good example of.
Well,
I'll save it for that show.
We can rehash it again.
I'll save it for that show because it'll definitely come up. But
all right.
Yeah, so that's kind of my thought there.
So back to this one, you were.
Hang on, let's set the stage and where we're at real quick before we do this. So we're going to shoot the Jeff Kirkwold Memorial match tomorrow, right? Mm-hmm. We're in the clubhouse. Mm-hmm. It's you, me, and my dog.
And and a few other friends, Cody West.
Yep.
So hanging out.
Yep.
And
Cody,
then
and then just some dudes came from a company that we know and love.
A few cheeseheads just rolled in out of nowhere.
Cheeseheads just rolled in. Dog went outside when they opened the door.
Right.
I've not seen him since. I'm hoping one of them is watching the dog.
They must not have air conditioning in Wisconsin.
I just got a thumbs
left
up,
the door
so
open.
that means we're looking for the dog. So all right, back to the.
He's out by them gopher mounds.
All right, back to the match here. So match fee was $250. There were 221 shooters in. Let's see, is that right? That seems a little bit low. 221 shooters in the pro match.
What do you mean the pro match? I know that's a unique thing to this
Yeah, so let me back up real quick. So this match is the Rockcastle Pro-Am, right? So there is a pro match and an am match. There are 2 matches going on at the same time. So there's about 500 shooters at this thing, right? So the pros shoot one set of stages and the AMs shoot another. The AMs have a 2-day format, and it's Friday and Saturday. Their prize table and banquet is on Saturday evening, and then they get the Rockcastle Fiesta, and then they're either hanging out with other people on Sunday or they're gone.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I noticed, like, because we were doing our match cast, doing some cliff notes from the results, and is the AM match posted? Like, are those scores?
Yes. It's scored separately in practice score.
Okay.
And it's under Rockcastle AM or something like that, 2017.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's not like a traditional format Pro-Am. So like traditional format Pro-Am you think would be like golf, right? So you have a foursome, you have 2 dudes that play, NFL football, and then 2 dudes that are like professional golfers, right?
Yeah.
And then they the golfers guide them through the match. That's not this type of match. And it's kind of weird because the AMs and the pros rarely cross unless like a stage is near each other.
Right.
And then so the only interaction is in the Rockcastle parking lot in the evenings. So
which happens there anyway.
Yeah. Although I will say that it happened on much, much larger scale at Pro-Am than I've experienced.
But the stages are separate, are they not?
Yes, completely separate.
So the stages are separate, the squads are separate.
Yes.
But the extravaganza commences at once.
Yes. For those that partake.
I guess like I saw the hype around the Pro-Am probably when 3-Gun Nation was there, like my early days when I was watching it on TV.
Oh, yeah.
Or actually, I was watching it for free online after it had broadcast on TV. But this is like way back. This is years ago. But like that was my first exposure to the Pro-Am. And that kind of struck me as odd that that it was separate.
It strikes me as odd too. It strikes me as like a missed opportunity.
Like, let's bring everybody together, but segregate them.
Yes. So if you are wanting to shoot with Keith Garcia, the same stage as Keith Garcia shoots, and have him guide you through the match, don't go to the Pro-Am. Because that's not what this is about. And of course, Keith Garcia wasn't there, but it's difficult to describe. It's basically like a newbie match and an experienced person match. However, there were many experienced people shooting the newbie match, and that kind of rubbed some people I know the wrong way.
Really?
And by rubbing people I know the wrong way, brought it to my attention, and then it kind of bothered me after that too.
So, there's a lot of that in the space, I notice. Not even just picking on Pro-Am, but like there's a lot of matches or a lot of ideas for matches floating around. We even talked about one earlier, off the air. But like they have concept for match, and certain people can't come, or certain people can come. We're looking for a certain demographic inside this small demographic, and I just don't know what's like. I can relate with the concept of wanting like an AM match, like like a kid gloves match to wade into and kind of acclimate shooters to a larger scale event at an easier skill level. But at the same time, like when they try to do, or when they try to like distribute prizes differently, they're trying to put a separate prize table for people who are, at a lower skill level or something like that. I just always feel like it's a miss when they try to exclude people or isolate a group. it's hard to do, and I think it's hard to have a successful event that way when you're telling certain people they can come or can't come or where they have to be inside of it.
In this particular match, they don't tell anyone they can come or can't come, and you can be the person that has shot tons of major matches and go into the amateur match and then clean up. And people have done that in the past. And what they did was they took the amateur prize table and they made it random draw instead of based on finish, and that has mitigated most of those issues. However, there were people there that have been shooting major matches longer than me that were in the amateur side.
Okay, so
and then I felt pressure to be on the pro side because I've shot so many major matches, although I've been shooting, majors for 2 years on a national basis, but I've shot so many of them. And I figured also Jeremy would ridicule me if I went on the amateur side.
So
He'd give me a hard time.
So why are people in AM who, quote unquote, shouldn't be?
I don't know. I honestly don't know the motivation. You'd have to ask them.
They just have low self-esteem.
Maybe it's low self-esteem. Maybe it's an easier match. But there were people that had several very large firearms manufacturer sponsors.
Yeah, maybe I'm showing my ignorance then, because if they're not scooping the prize table by shooting AM, then I guess I don't worry about it.
Maybe there's some sort of contractual obligation they have with their sponsors that they finish high in a match, and then this would be cherry picking.
Maybe.
I mean, that's kind of far reaching out there for a reason, but
if that was the case, I would think less of them, not more of them.
Absolutely.
Than if I didn't know that.
Absolutely. Well, the reports that I've seen from quite a few people have not mentioned which match they shot. Like we see the Instagram, had a great time at the Pro-Am, finished 4th. They don't mention which match they shot.
Well, that's not in the Mad Libs, though.
Right. the match wrap up Mad Libs that we were doing.
Yeah. There's not a blank for that there.
Right.
Because it's usually assumed that there's only one match.
Correct. Yeah. So that's kind of controversial, and people can do whatever they want, and as long as they sleep at night, that's fine. But everybody's watching.
Everybody knows.
Oh yeah.
It's too small of a group not to know.
Yeah. Well.
All right.
But the thing is, people aren't going to talk about it in public, so who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. And until the niche or the industry that we're in starts talking about stuff in public, no one's going to change their behavior. So you can have a good match or a terrible match, and people just say the exact same thing. Had a great time at the blah, blah, blah. Or you can have people that sign up for an amateur match who are receiving product or several $1,000s in compensation from sponsors, which makes them a professional, right? It's just like if you cut hair for free in the park, you're an amateur. If one of those guys gives you $5, now you're a professional.
Yep.
Right? So I don't know. But the
transition to thinking of yourself as a professional is odd.
The word professional in this context of the game that we're playing is stupid.
Yeah.
Pro is so stupid.
Yeah.
If you replace the word pro with experienced and the word, amateur with inexperienced, then no big deal. Right? But amateur implies no sort of competency in the sport, right? And pro implies that you're getting paid for it. There's plenty of, watch me do air quotes on a podcast, pros that are not making money. So, excuse me, how do you justify that? The word pro is something I had a hard time with. And when I started the podcast, excuse me. When I started the podcast,
you're very gassy this evening.
I'm drinking beer. Yeah. And it was that cookie.
That's what it is.
When I started the podcast, I just assumed that everyone that had a pro on their name or was on the 3 Gun Nation Pro Series was making a full-time living doing it. And I look back at the questions that I sent, Greg Jordan, Keith Garcia, and Di Muller and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel silly now.
Well, like I never. Funny thing is, like I didn't think of it that way ever because I came to 3-gun from motorsports.
Right.
So as a fan and as a participant, but as a fan, like I used to go to snowcross, which is snowmobile motocross. They used to do it at a horse track.
Which is awesome, by the way.
They still do it here. But, so it's at a horse track that they cover with snow, and they have the snow guns out there and everything. And when I would think of the different levels of riders, like there was a pace difference.
Yes.
Like when semi-pro was out there, like those guys can ride, but all of a sudden the pros came out and they were triple jumping stuff that people were doubling or just, bumping across, like the pros had a different pace.
But are they pros?
Most of them aren't.
Exactly.
So a lot, a few of them are, and more of them are now than
we don't have a rating scale.
Right.
But
it was a skill level.
Rock climbing has a rating scale and a skill level scale. That guy climbs 512. That guy climbs 5.7. Right there, that person's skill level. But if you say that guy climbs professionally, then that means someone is funding his lifestyle.
Yes.
So,
like when I was riding motocross, C riders were not allowed on the track at the same time as AB riders.
Right.
Because you were in their way.
Right, yeah.
Those guys, they didn't want to ride with you, and you didn't really want to ride with them.
So when I drag raced, the professional racers were being compensated. The dude that has spent, 3.5 mortgages and a divorce on his car and is kicking ass in, the whatever bracket division he's running. That guy's not a professional, right? John Force is a professional. It's the only racing name I can think of right now. Ashley Force, the second one. Those are professionals. Those are people that are being compensated for what they're doing. So when I got to 3-gun, I just assumed that's what that meant. And then, now knowing what I know, we just need a new name. It's just dumb to call them professionals when, they go to 50-hour-a-week day jobs and this is their hobby on the weekend. A professional football player. What does that mean? Does that mean the guy's getting free Nikes and a helmet? Oh, we're going to give you a helmet a year. How about that?
Yeah.
And that's stupid.
Oh, you know what? You did a lot of posts last year. You get 3 helmets this year.
Yeah, so you know what we should do, Adam? Let's start varsity and junior varsity match.
No, you know what we should do? We're talking about racing, all right? So a childhood friend of mine, they were into dirt track racing or whatever. They were fans of it. And at their local track, the way they kept the playing field level is there's a division where if you won, the top 3 guys who won, they had to go to tech inspection to make sure they weren't cheating. And in that division, anybody could buy your engine for $1,000.
I love that.
Or whatever the price was. But there was a price tag. Like, if you can spend whatever you want, you can do whatever you want to your car. But some dude can go in your division, can come up and say, yep, that one's mine now.
How frequently did that happen?
I don't know. It happened enough.
Oh, really?
It happened enough. But could you imagine what that would be like in 3-gun?
Yeah, I'll take your guns.
Yeah, if you're top 3, some dude can come up and be like, yeah, I'll take your SV for $1,000.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it would definitely change the way that we select gear for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. So, anyway, we kind of got off on a little tangent there.
Yeah,
like
we got
what
off
the definition of is, but the overall.
So what's
the overall theme is that this is not a pro-am. This is a pro match and an am match. And some people that choose to shoot the am match.
And when you put the two together, it just comes out pro-am.
Correct. Could be an am pro match, but some people that choose to shoot the am match probably should be in the pro match, but maybe you don't have the confidence or self-esteem to shoot the pro match.
I choose to think that of them.
Rather than they're trying to game something. Because really, with random draw prize table, there's nothing game now.
Right.
In years past,
the trophies aren't even that cool.
In years past, there's definitely been
I don't know that to be
issues.
true. I just guessed.
You didn't see the trophies.
Yeah, no.
In years past, there's definitely been issues, but once they went to random draw prize table, it doesn't seem like you can really game it that hard unless you want to gamble. Unless you like to get, maybe they're gambling junkies. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so $250, 221 people in the match. Division winners. This is pretty cool. There's only 2 divisions: TAC Ops and Open.
Yeah.
I like that. None of those other silly things that take away from everything else.
If only there was another match that did that.
This one?
Yeah.
Jeff Kirkwold? Yeah, I like it.
It was a 1-division match.
Was it?
Yeah.
Open?
No.
TAC?
It was TAC.
Yeah.
It was TAC until
Josh came to town?
until a certain someone decided they wanted to shoot Open.
So
It's fun to pick on him.
But we'll talk about Kirkwold when we talk about Kirkwold.
He's a good sport, yeah.
So TAC Ops winner, Greg Jordan.
Yes.
Nice
But
work, Greg
the
Jordan.
real story here, second, third, fourth, that was a real battle.
Yes.
So those guys were close.
Mm-hmm. It was a very close match.
I think Brian Nelson and Tim Yackley were like half a percentage point away from each other or something like that. I mean, that's what I like to see. I mean,
close matches.
Yeah, we were talking about this on our podcast, but like you don't want to see 1, 2, 3 be 190 and 80%.
Like a Rocky Mountain.
Yeah, no, we want those guys to be sweating each other, like going over to other squads, like, hey man, how's it going? Did you?
Well, and that's the cool thing about this match is practice score updates every single night, so you could look and see how things were shaking out, which is a lot of fun. Open division winner Brian Butcher.
Yes. A name who's been around for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, but not someone you'd necessarily expect.
I wouldn't put money on him in Vegas to win a match.
Yeah.
I would put money on him to be right there.
Yeah, like top 5, right?
Yeah.
But if I didn't just say Brian Butcher, and you hadn't looked at the results in practice score because of the Hawkeye thing, and asked you name top 5 guys in Open.
Oh, Micklick, Whitesides,
Yep.
Sexton, and was Roth there?
Who? Roth, yes.
Yeah.
Mark Roth, yeah.
I mean, those guys.
Yeah, that's what you would think, right? And then Brian
and
Butcher comes in.
Yeah, and I know Josh was somewhere else. So Brian. That's really cool. I mean, I don't know him personally. I've watched the name from the sidelines. Mm-hmm. But no, it's cool to see him win a match. So
yeah, absolutely. So other opportunities. Like I said, there was an AM match. There were side matches.
How many side matches were there?
I think there's like 3. So I shot 4. So I tried to shoot the EOTech. They're having a problem with their gun, which EOTech doesn't make guns, so not their fault. Lantac had a side stage that I did not go to because I did not have time. Amtac had a side stage, Amtac suppressors.
Oh, yeah, they make cool stuff.
Yeah, so I can't tell you about that side stage. It was a fun one. And then
I watched one too many of their videos.
Breda had a side stage. So
Breda was there too?
Yeah, and Breda's was just more like a demo. So they give you like 6 shells. You could load up the shotgun and then shoot plate rack. So their idea is like they want you to load the shotgun, obviously, because they're Breda B12i with the already modified port. They want you to evaluate it and then shoot it, right? So that was cool. Amtac suppressors, they had a Cricket rifle, the little Chillins rifle, little kid's rifle, and they give you 5 rounds, and you had to, from bolt closed, load and shoot 5 rounds the quickest. And because it was suppressed, they didn't have a shot timer. They had one of those Rubik's Cube pad things that you start with your hands on. So you start with your hands on this pad, and then when you let go of the pad, the clock starts. And then you pick up the rifle, open the bolt, put in a 22 cartridge, close the bolt, pull the plunger back, pull the trigger, and then you hit the steel target, pa-ting, and then you repeat that 4 more times, and then you put the rifle down and smack the pad, and it stops the time.
Huh.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
I want to get one of those little timers, right? Because it's like 3 Gun Nation style, right? With their shoot-off. You got the big easy button.
Yeah.
I want to get one of those. Yeah. Just for screwing around. But anyway, so that was the first time I saw one of those. And that was very, very difficult because the cricket is not made to load fast.
No.
'Cause it's for children. It's designed to give you as much time as possible to stop a bad thing from happening.
Yeah, I watched the promo with Nelson, and he'd obviously done it before, and still did not look graceful.
Nelson was practicing it in 4-hour increments. And
Is what it is, man.
is what it is. What do you mean by that?
I don't know. It's just something we say.
My least favorite saying in business, by the way. So the
Is what it is means not what it should be.
is what it is means we're not going to do anything about it. So the cricket was difficult. I think my time was like 37 seconds or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty hard, but it was fun
Mm-hmm.
because it's not something you ordinarily do, especially as 3-gunners. Fast time I think was like 17 seconds, and Tim Yackley did that. I think he's got some time behind a cricket.
Was the fire ant the only can that they were demoing?
No, they had other cans there.
They did.
That was
you
the
could
only one I
shoot.
shot,
You could
though.
shoot the other ones though.
Uh-huh.
Oh, cool.
You could just for like demo, but the side match that had like a prize attached to it was the cricket. They had like an SR-22 with a suppressor on it, and then some sort of Browning bolt rifle with a suppressor on it. But they're all 22s because it was real short bay.
Oh, really? The one they got me on was their PCC can.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, the Hornet.
Are they all named after bugs? Is that the deal?
No, their other ones have tactical names. I think they called it. I think they named the Hornet, and then it caught on. So then they called the next one the Fire Ant.
Right.
But no, MTAC does cool stuff, and they support 3-gun a lot. Adam Reiser is a 3-gunner.
And a very good 3-gunner too.
And a very good 3-gunner. So no, they're a really cool company putting out cool stuff. And like I said, they roped me in. I got one of theirs in jail right now. I haven't played with it yet.
Yeah, and then like I said, Lantac was there. I wish I could have shot their side match just because I'm not real familiar with Lantac stuff, and I would like to be more familiar with it, but I just didn't have time. Whatever goes shoot
They're demoing their new rifle. Was that?
Dude, you know as much as I do. Like I have.
Well,
no
I know.
clue.
Like I got some. I met them by association with Ruben at SHOT Show, and they came out with a new AR this year, and they were showing us, or they were talking about it while we were hanging out, and then I was helping Hyperfire at Range Day, and they were buddy breathing off of CMC's booth, like 2 tents away. So I went over and shot it. It is a cool rifle. I forget what it's called, but no, they came out with a new rifle this year, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they seem to have like cool stuff. I just saw that they released a Glock barrel, which is pretty neat.
Yep,
got to pick one of them up. So the did not shoot that. EOTech had a side stage where there were 2 paper targets and then 2 like 10-inch deals at 100. And you had one box you shot 2 paper targets, and then the next box you shot the 2 10-inch deals at 100. And there was like a Voodoo 6-power scope, whatever EOTech's Voodoo.
Did you try the Voodoo?
So I got to look through it and shoot it at Blue Ridge. Again, this time I was waiting in line to shoot, and the dude in front of me, I'm not saying he broke the rifle, but he was holding it when it stopped working. And it was a suppressed.
I mean, one could say
he broke it. And so he was shooting a suppressed. It was a suppressed AR-15 with the Voodoo on there, so I did not get to look through it because the guy was screwing with it. And at that time, I was like, you know what? I've been here for like 30 minutes already. I'm hungry. Going to be hangry pretty soon. So I was like, hey, guys, I'll come back. And then I totally forgot to come back, unfortunately, because it looked like a fun side stage.
I mean, obviously, I have an optics bias, but we have seen some Voodoos at my
first focal point.
Yes, which I like.
Which I'm not very used to. So when looking through it and zooming through the range, it looks odd to me.
Yep.
Not that it's a bad thing. It just looks different.
Yep.
Because that's not what I'm used to.
Yeah, I have about 5 shadow accounts that I use to drop that hint to Vortex on a weekly basis.
First focal point?
Hey, guys, you should come out with first focal point 1 to 6. Come on now.
So they had a Ruger 1022 in a Magpul Hunter stock.
Yeah.
With an EOTech, I think it's an XP2 on top.
Yeah.
and it was like the Taxol 10 ring 1022, you know, so it was a really nice 1022.
Mm-hmm.
And then it had a suppressor on the end that was a Q suppressor, a Q erector set. Yeah, and that was the first time I'd ever seen one of those in person. And so since one dude was like messing with the rifle, the other dude was like trying to distract me, you know. I'm like, no, it's cool, dude. I don't mind waiting. And he's like, hey, look at this. And he's like juggling and stuff.
Did they have the fix there?
No, dude. They just had the suppressor. So
just that? Oh.
So he pulls the suppressor off.
Yeah.
Hands it to me. That thing was like holding an empty water bottle. It was
Really?
so stinking light. Like, it's indescribable how light this thing was.
Yeah,
Actually, I just described it. It's like holding an empty water bottle.
Yeah, if you could put baffles in your water bottle.
Yeah. It was crazy. And then, you know, you can take them apart because it's the erector thing. And then, like, one piece was serialized.
Yep.
And everything else was just add-ons to that.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool. I was super impressed with how light that thing was. And then he let me shoot that. And, you know, quiet like a suppressed 1022. And if you've ever shot a suppressed 1022, the loudest thing is the action going clack, clack, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was really cool. One thing I will say, though, is that when you get a cheek weld on the Magpul Hunter stock, you're looking over the receiver of the 1022. And they designed it that way, right? So you look through the iron sights.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to put an EOTech XP2 on there, you need a cheek riser.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like you're holding your head off the rifle.
Yeah.
Like, just rest your chin on there, and then take your shots that way. So, but I really like the Magpul stock. The Taxol 1022 was cool.
Mm-hmm.
That Q was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, shooting suppress is always fun.
Yeah. Once you get the suppressor bug, it's a terrible, terrible drug.
Yeah. Yeah. So those were the other opportunities.
Well, that's not all of them.
I guess you'd want to say that the Rockcastle parking lot is another opportunity.
I'm pretty sure that at the Armalite was there tuning up rifles.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. So there's a lot of vendors in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
So Voodoo was there with their new 3-gun bag, was smoking good deals on their 3-gun bags, and they sold all of them, all that they brought, completely gone. True Spec was there. They had a bunch of their clothes. RCI X-Rail was there. Armalite, Devil Dog Arms, Breda USA. What's Donnie Flows?
Stage Zero.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me, Stage Zero was there. Donnie's a cool dude, so it was good to see him. Gamaliel, I think it's what it's called. Shooting Supply was there, and I bought a bunch of 9mm from them, which was
that
cool.
place with the semi-trailer?
Yeah.
Does all the shotgun stuff?
Yeah. DJ Petro calls it Gamil, but I think it's Gamaliel. I don't know how they say it in Kentucky, but it's spelled Gamaliel. No clue.
Just because they say it that way in Kentucky doesn't mean that's... We've been over that.
Exactly. Versailles.
Versailles.
And there was one more person there that I'm blanking on. I can't remember who that was. But yeah, so there's quite a few vendors around the place. And dude, Armalite had like smoking deals on stuff. It was ridiculous. Like upper lower receiver set for an AR-15 was like $125.
Mm-hmm.
And
upper and lower. Nah.
Receiver set $125. Yeah.
Really?
The Armalite one with like the big line on it.
Did you score me one?
No. It's complicated. And then the AR-10s, $225. Whole receiver sets.
Wow.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Wow.
Never to be repeated. Like, you couldn't go and get that right now. Like, they had
that ain't.
They had a whole trailer full of stuff, dude. They sold a ton of stuff. They sold a ton of rifles out of there, ton of uppers. The upper receivers, I wasn't allowed to mention the price in social media. It was only for people that were there, and it was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Whole 3-gun upper receivers.
Yep.
God, what else did they have? They had like some scratch and dent rifles, which is one of those ones where you're like, where's the scratch, you know?
Oh, yeah. They call that overstock.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was like, Jesus.
Well, I was intrigued. You were saying they were doing tune-ups on.
Oh, yeah. So
tuning.
check this out. So one of the dudes that listens to the show, John, bought a rifle And Greg Jordan and Rick Torres, an Armalite and a Nexus shooter, go over to the sight-in bay with him. They take his scope off of his rifle, put it on the Armalite, and they, they drill out the muzzle brake for him, adjust the gas block, and hand it to him. Like, how does this feel? And he's like, oh, it's great. And then they...
Now, do they actually go through the process with the gas block, or do they just know that it's 1.5 turns out and they just set it?
They went through the process with the gas block because
Really?
every rifle's different.
Really?
And then they Loctite it or whatever they do. I don't know if they Loctite it, but they lock it down with the nut there.
Yeah.
They zeroed it with John, and then he shot the rest of the match with that rifle.
Yeah, so that's super cool to me. Having done retail for a long time, I've sold a ton of Armalite rifles. I've sold a ton of JP rifles. I've sold Seekins and Cobalt and all of them. These high performance rifles with great degrees of adjustability to get dialed in perfectly. And I know that 90% of them that walk out the door will never reach that level of performance because the owner just either doesn't know how or can't be bothered to. So when you started saying that they were doing tune-ups at the range, I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, and if you bought a comp there, they would do the same thing.
Because it's a completely different rifle. My PWS on setting 1 or 2, when I shoot it on 3, it's a completely different rifle. And all you had to do was make that one little adjustment, and it's a completely different gun, and it's a completely different shooting experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and think of the impact and the lasting story of Greg Jordan tuned my rifle up.
Right.
Right? The dude.
Greg Jordan touched my rifle.
The team, the team captain, and my hand right here. The team captain of Armalite, this rifle that I bought, tuned this rifle for me.
That's really
neat.
cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That was a really good idea.
Yeah, I thought it was a good idea too. Every now and then, Jeremy has good ideas.
Once in a while, I imagine.
Yeah.
To get to where he's at.
He listens to these, so I got to dig him a little bit. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm glad you brought that up because that was another good opportunity. And as always, one thing I've noticed is Mark Roth leaves with more shotguns than he comes with.
If you're a shotgun gunsmith, that's the cross you bear.
Well, I mean,
Blair
it's good,
Steiney's of Hawkeye Ordnance, he's the same way.
Yeah.
Always muling shotguns.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's easy to do, right? You see someone's shotgun go down, like, oh, you're having some problems. I think I can fix that.
Yep. Yep. Or, just saving, oh, hey, man, you're going to be there. I don't have to ship it.
Yeah.
So what would you say the flavor of the match is?
So the flavor of the match, there's a couple things that I would say. One is the accessibility to new shooters, right? That's why they have the AM, right? I'm only doing the Recon and the Pro here. Maybe I'll reach out to an AM and see if they want to participate in this so we can get kind of their feel for the match. But so there's the large migration of 3-gunners to Kentucky. There's 500 people there shooting 3-gun.
Migration? Like they actually move there to live?
Yes. No.
So there's 3-gun in Kentucky. I will find a career.
Like for a census, when Jesus and Mary got on the donkey and headed in.
Oh, they have to go back to Kentucky to be counted?
Yes, as 3-gunners.
It's like you self-identify as a Texas 3-gunner, but you have to go back to Kentucky.
That's where they're counting people.
Yeah, right?
So it's like a mecca, right? Everyone faces Park City at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and prays.
I mean, I know I do.
So the point is, like, this is a large event. It's a big deal for 3-gun, right? And I would say because of the volume of shooters, for sure, the volume of stages, there's 2 matches going on, right? So you've got several staff. You know how difficult it is to staff one match, not try to do 2 on the same day in the same place, right?
Yeah.
So
that must be some really good pizza that they order.
Right. So for scale, first of all, right? Now this is the first year that Brian Corey was building stages out there, and then Mike Sexton was the range match director.
Not the first rodeo for either of those two clowns.
No. Very well versed in running matches. Chad Francis was the range master. Chad Francis is very well versed in running matches. David Power was there. I have no clue what David's role was, but he had a radio, so he must be important.
Well, I give those away pretty cheap. So, wait. So
hang on. Let's not back
Mike,
out. That's not a dig on David Power, right?
No.
I just don't know what his actual title was. So
right.
he was doing
sometimes those
several
are the most important guys.
Yeah, the bag man.
Yeah,
right?
he's like the NSA.
He's the guy that takes the cash from the rich man and gives it to the kidnappers so he can get his daughter back. He's the bag man.
I feel like you were shorted in experience, though, if David Power wasn't ROing a stage so he could yell,
We're coming to that. We're coming to that.
But I am confused. So Mike was match director.
Correct.
Francis was range master, and Corey was match designer.
Yeah, range builder, dude.
Range builder. It's broken. Please come fix it, guy.
Correct. Yeah, he's range runner, right?
Range runner. I like that.
That's a good one, right? Also,
range runner, stage 7.
Brian Corey's got a trailer full of steel, and Brian's sort of set up this niche for himself where he travels 2 matches, brings his shit, and sets up a Corey style match, and then fixes anything that breaks, right? And seems to do pretty well at it. Like did the Pro-Am, he did Texas 3-Gun Championship, and he did Dylan and Corinne's match was the
Shoot for Gold.
Thank you, Shoot for Gold match. So I shot 2 of those, and they had a very Corey feel to it. Now, I will also say, speaking of match flavor, this is, if you've been to a 3-Gun Nation match, this would feel familiar because there are roped fault lines.
Well, now you're just buttering me up.
No. There are roped fault lines. There are clear fresh painted start boxes. It's not like Blue Ridge where they just throw steel out there and everything.
Are they multiple colors?
Steel's painted between shooters. Slug or pistol option.
Steel's painted between shooters?
I'm sorry, not shooters, squads.
Okay.
Slug or pistol
That sounds
option.
painful.
Slug or pistol option is painted half blue, half white, so you know it's an option.
Those are all my favorite things.
Yeah, it was great, but without all of the other BS that comes with a 3-Gun Nation match as far as like goofy rules and other sort of things.
Says you.
I tried to score a 3-Gun Nation match one time on practice score, and I had to hand the tablet off.
It's different.
And I was the youngest person on the squad.
It's different.
It's different. So, clean, well-run stages that looked like thought and effort was put into them. They didn't just show up, drag a bunch of shit out of the tobacco barn, and then set it on the stages, right? Mm-hmm. These were clean, well thought out, and there was a start and a finish to each stage. And you started with your rifle, or excuse me, you started with your pistol or your shotgun, and then you shot your rifle. And by the time you were done shooting your rifle, your pistol and your shotgun were cleared, and it was back on the table waiting for you. It was a clean, smooth running match, right? And there were plenty of options to satisfy you. However, not as many options as you would think. If that makes any sense.
So, not as many match options as I set up? Oh, you haven't even looked at it.
I've only shot one of your locals.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is like these are pistol or shotgun targets, right? And to me, it was like, well, there's not even an option there. It's a shotgun target.
Right.
And then...
But somebody would come through and shoot it with a pistol.
But I've seen video of a lot of people shooting it with pistol. So there wasn't an array, though. And this may be like me reaching maturity as a shooter or something. But there wasn't an array where I thought, gosh, which one am I going to shoot here? It was just all very clear.
Well, Dave's all grown up. There wasn't the all rifle, all pistol, all shotgun stage, or was there?
Funny you should mention that. There was an all shotgun stage.
Just
there was
one.
Not an all rifle stage. There was not an all pistol stage. Was there an all pistol stage? No, there wasn't.
Interesting.
So it's traditional in that sense, right? Because traditionally there have been all shotgun stages in matches, and that's where they got the all rifle and all pistol, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the matches were consumed by one-gun stages.
Yes.
They keep
So
all right, so where are we at now?
we've discussed that one. So then I will say that also the match flavor is the huge Rockcastle party in the parking lot of the hotel.
Yes.
Which I participated in on night 1. And
Yeah, that's what I heard.
it took me an hour to get from my truck to the front door.
It's tough being popular.
I passed a group of ladies that were heading toward a booth that I should probably not name. And they were like, we're getting tequila shots. And then,
Now you're just making stuff up.
no,
That didn't happen.
no, it did. Ask Keith Clevenger. He was right there with me.
That's
And
not
they were-
even a real name. You made that up.
They were trying to get Heath and I to take tequila shots with them. And
No.
exactly, we were like, nope, because Heath's got a RO and I was going to shoot. And
There's not that many girls in 3-gun. And the ones that are too classy for that.
both are not true. So I'll tell you who it was afterwards. So they were like, just one shot. And then Heath goes, there's no such thing as one shot of tequila.
That's not, yeah. I don't even drink. I know
So
that's
then
not a thing.
Heath and I sat on the tailgate. We were BSing for a while. They took their shots. They left. Who came back? That group to do more shots of tequila. There's no such thing as one shot of tequila, so don't even try. That's what I'm saying.
But gotta
You
get
wanna
that
shoot a
worm
match.
at the bottom of the bottle.
You want to shoot a match.
All right. So what was the terrain like?
Dude, let me tell you about the terrain. So this, for the pros, was a natural terrain match. And by natural, I mean they had to mow the grass, so we weren't running up on, grass through our crotches and we could see where we were going.
And they didn't pillage the land with D6s?
We would run through the trees,
Nice.
uphills, downhills. We had to run through like a man-made pipe that was not in a bay.
Man-made pipe. I've heard reference to this pipe. I haven't.
It's just a plastic pipe,
hard-
like 4 foot in diameter that you got to go through. Adam Reiser said he could duck his head and run.
Which he probably could.
That's what he said. There was one stage that was in a bay. It was the last stage of shot of the match, but you started out in a bay. You shot a 50-yard plate rack, 2 50-yard poppers. Mm-hmm. They were painted orange. Yes, they were colorful. And then 5 paper. Then you dumped your rifle, picked up your shotgun, and then ran into the trees. So that one gets half credit as a terrain match. So I would have to say it was largely natural terrain. But they did mow the grass, so I don't know if that counts. Oh, bonus.
You can mow. You just you cannot puncture the pan
Yes.
of the dirt.
The terra firma.
Yeah, once
So
you
bonus, Brian Corey came up to me and he's like, hey, man, did you notice I took out all those roots?
he child-proofed it for
He
you.
child-proofed it for me. So he spent like a ton of time going through the roots, and he even said that I think I found the route that you tripped on, and I took it out. And that was nowhere near the stage that we were shooting. So he went and found the route that I tripped on at Blue Ridge, DQ'd on, and then multiple other people tripped on, and one actually hurt themselves. And he actually took it out, which is good, because that's all I wanted was...
Did they put it on display at the NRA museum?
He said he's going to give it to me, but I forgot which one it was. I was like, dude, you could just give me any
No,
one of
you
them.
didn't.
That's what he said. But
He's going to sell that on eBay.
So the roots that were left there were painted orange. If there was a root or like a stump or something like that, it was painted orange. So there was a lot of care taken for safety, as Brian Corey does, right? So that part was pretty cool.
So what were the skills utilized at this match?
Skills utilized. So I would say moving quickly through a stage, running over natural terrain, and then depending on the option you chose, it was either quick loads on the shotgun because there was not super large arrays, or shooting very small targets with your pistol that were pretty close. There were some far-ish slug shots, 75 and 100 yards. Far-ish pistol shots, 75 and 100 yards. And there were slug pistol options that were like 60 yards. So I would say long pistol targets, which I'm not very good at. They always hit low and to the left with my Glock for some reason. And then I would say mid to long range targets because there were a lot of stages where there were long, air quote, long targets being past 200 yards, but only one stage where they got out to 470 yards.
Okay.
Yeah. So those were skills utilized.
And is this one of those matches where you get all slung up and loaded for bear and like shed your clothes as you go, or is it all?
No. So the rifle was always last, except for that one stage I just described where the rifle was first, and that was a 50-yard plate rack. Other than that, the rifle was always last. So you started with your shotgun stage, rifle staged, and pistol in your holster, shot pistol, shot shotgun, shot rifle, or some variation of that, right? Mm-hmm. Rifle was always last. Mm-hmm. And obviously the idea there is that they can clear all those other guns, paste all those other targets, and by the time you're done shooting, the whole stage is reset, right? Mm-hmm. So moving on to farthest shot, because that kind of blends into here. Mm-hmm. So there were 4 long-range stages, long being over 200 yards. And I liked the longness of these targets because I think sometimes we're like, oh, let's go ahead and shoot 605, 620 yards with 223, and then that just becomes silly, right? I mean, 600 yards with the 223 is an achievable shot, not necessarily a wise shot, right? In like a real sort of situation. Only tool you have, yeah. I mean, by all means, go for it, right? But at that point, it's like, nah. I think I enjoy the speed of the game. And if you have targets from 150 to 300 yards, some people I've talked to said that they'd make 220, 250 yards the max to keep it speedy and then just put people in like awkward positions. So, but this match, let's see your thoughts on that. We'll come back to that. Yeah. So this match, there was one stage with 470, 293, 222, 306, 235, and 270. And that was from a minivan, which was the nicest.
Which is the best place to shoot long range from.
It was the nicest minivan that I've ever shot from. Didn't stink like hell. They put a nice carpet in there, so it was like a nice shooting position.
Did they like leave in it and go home?
Yes. Then
so somebody's grocery getter was on that. Nice.
Yeah, pretty much. It was ours. And then there was another stage with 276, 137, 215, and 314. Another stage with 144, 194, 170 yards. And there was another one that was on the golf course, which is really cool, shooting on a golf course. And that was there was 5 targets between 210 and 270 yards. And there was one stage I didn't even bother writing down the distances just because they were all dead holds. But there was like 4 targets, and they were probably like 160 to 210 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Man, it'd almost be worth it just to shoot on a golf course.
Yeah, it was cool.
All my years in motocross, I always wanted to ride dirt bikes on a golf course. So maybe this is the closest.
Yeah, you got to shoot rifle, pistol, and shotgun on the golf course.
Did you have to fix your divot when you were done?
No.
Oh,
no,
that's good.
You did not have to fix your divot.
That's for the birds.
The shooting position was the hole 6 sign.
The what?
The sign that says what hole it is.
Oh.
Yeah, shooting position was from the sign.
Is that why all the short guys were upset?
Well, there was yes is the answer to that question. So that would have been a good standing position. But there was also a reverse kneel position that was just 2 2x4s put into like a square that was screwed off the edge of the sign.
Really?
And that reverse kneel position was too tall for a lot of the short guys. And one of those famous short guys timed out.
Well, that's unfortunate.
And you can go prone on that stage.
You can't go prone.
It was in the stage description. You may not go prone. And it was probably because you had your pistol on you.
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans? Why?
I don't know.
Oh.
It's like it's too tall for the short guys, but you can't go prone.
Double kneel.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's the problem, right? Is if it's too tall for you to reverse kneel, double kneel, and then shut up.
Obviously, use your silo as well. Or wait, is silo still a thing? I don't know.
only person I see running it is Rob Romero.
You mean Tate?
Nope.
Oh, really?
Rob Romero. That dude from the Noveski shooting team, Ninja Cock?
I'm aware. I'm aware. No, I spend a lot of time with Rob Tate, and he's a fan as well.
Oh, really? The silo?
Oh, yes.
Huh. I haven't shot with him. Well, since Texas. I don't think he had it there.
I think the only time Rob's shooting without his silo is when someone says he can't.
Interesting.
I don't know. But anyway, where are we at? We're at logistics.
We are. So, logistics. Check-in was pretty easy if you had already signed up, which I didn't, so it was a little longer for me, but it still was brief considering we started from scratch. Scoring was updated each evening. You did get a T-shirt, which was cool. They looked really nice, although I didn't get a T-shirt because I signed up late. Yeah, like I said, practice score was updated each evening. Prize table walk was quick and easy. They did a little mention of where the trophies came from, which were brought by the Brazilians who come from Brazil. And
Do they now?
Yeah. And they brought Olympic medal style trophies, which was really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so they've been there every year for the Pro-Am, and I think a few of them come to Blue Ridge as well. And it was really cool to see them provide the trophies. It was really nice. One of the guys I talked to said that he was born in the wrong country and that he values mine, and he's glad that I let him come here.
Seems like something a terrorist would say. I kid. But always be vigilant.
That's not nice.
All right, so we're at venue. I think we've been talking about venue this whole
Yeah,
time.
venue, Rockcastle Shooting Facility. For those of you who don't know, it's a 2,000-acre facility in Park City, Kentucky that backs to a national park. There's a hotel, straight out of Dirty Dancing. There's
Hotel Bates.
parking lot where all the shenanigans and the good stuff happens. They have a winery, a bar, a restaurant, and multiple options for shooting 3-gun in long range, like in Thunder Valley, or actual long range out to like 1,600 yards. They have a Cowboy Town, the aforementioned Tobacco Barn, 4 bay stages, sporting clays. Another thing I noticed they have is a walking archery range, 3D archery range, which is kind of cool. It's like sporting clays for people that shoot bows and arrows. Mm-hmm. And it's about 90 minutes from Nashville, Tennessee, which is the closest airport.
And they have a bathhouse.
They have a bathhouse. So, yeah, the bathhouse, I don't know if I watch too much TV or whatever, but bathhouse to me brings up weird things like, oh, yeah, it's over by the bathhouse. It's in the middle of the woods. So you go over there, and there's literally a bathhouse in the middle of the woods. You're like, why is this thing here? I have no clue. But now that the Nobles own the place, we get to shoot from and on that bathhouse.
It is my favorite part of the entire facility.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. So there was like a massive hornet's nest and bees and snakes in the bathhouse, and guess who got to reset the whole time in there for the squad? That's right, me. As soon as I mentioned snake, DJ's like, you're in there.
I got the lions and tigers and bears. You take care of the snakes and the hornets in there.
But he's under the barrel. Who cares? Yeah, so that was kind of sketchy. But, yeah, the bathhouse is pretty cool. It's like just a I don't know how you describe it, just like a shower house in the middle of the woods.
I would describe it as a latrine from every church and Boy Scout camp you've ever been to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's why I don't understand when they call it a bathhouse and I got there. It's like, oh, it's just a latrine. Oh, that's cool.
It's just a toilet. Yeah. So then there's a hatch on the roof, and you can shoot into the bathhouse in certain targets, right? So that's what we did in this match. It was pretty cool.
Yep. I don't wear a uniform professionally, so I never get to shoot inside of buildings.
Oh yeah.
So whenever they let me go in there and shoot stuff, I always think it's cool.
Yeah. So this one you got to shoot from the roof. I've never shot from
Also,
the
don't get
entryway.
to do that.
I've never shot from the entryway. Do you get to do that sometimes?
Shot from the entryway.
Yeah, like from the door. You can go in from the door or the roof.
Blue Ridge, they usually let us run in the door and just throw 180 to the breeze and hose stuff in there.
Yeah, because they're cinder blocks to stop all the cartridges.
Yeah, and they got these
bullets.
cool bullet traps too.
Yeah, they have really nice bullet traps for sure.
So I don't know. It's one of those feels like I always feel super naughty when I'm in there doing all the stuff that Eddie Eagle tells me not to.
Exactly.
So. All right. So and then what was pre-communication? I think you touched on that a little bit already.
Touched on that just a little bit, but one thing I wanted to mention is that they being Rockcastle put out a Facebook and Instagram post.
What?
That was a update from the match director. And it was, imagine the best Mike Sexton voice. Now hear this, Love you, Mike. But it was, this is what we put on the ground. This is what you can expect. Don't need to bring a sling. You do need to bring this, blah, 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 blah. And it was in a Facebook post and an Instagram post, and I saw both of them. So that was pretty cool, too.
So who's doing all the work?
Who's doing all the work? What do you mean?
Like, when I'm match directing, I ain't got time for that.
That was on the Rockcastle Shooting Center website or Facebook page and Instagram. So it was likely Nick Noble.
Oh,
likely. I don't know that for sure.
So Mike has people for that.
Everybody's got people for that.
Yeah, man. All right. So how was the staff?
Staff was great. A lot of the usual suspects.
Were they from Kentucky?
Some were from Kentucky. Some were imported. Since Mike was there, he brought a lot of his ROs that he's used to shooting with, which is one of the reasons that Heath Clevenger was there. I will say that quite a few people mentioned don't trip, watch your step, so a lot of people.
I mean, that one's going to take at least 18 months to live down.
Yeah, I don't need to live it down.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's entwined in your identity now.
Yeah, totally. It's a pretty funny video, too. So
it is. I watched it.
I did, too, buddy. I just found the GoPro. I can show you that later.
So what would you call the fun factor of this one?
Let's see. Oh, hang on one more moment.
You had more staff.
Yeah, so there was one stage where the sun was rising, and we had targets out to 200 yards. Mm-hmm. The ROs were just putting their hands above their eyebrows and watching the targets. And they missed a couple hit calls.
Are those
on one of our
Kentucky
shooters.
binoculars?
On one of our shooters. So the shooter spoke to higher match staff. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I'll be honest, I cannot see those targets adequately, and I have 37-year-old eyes. These guys should have binoculars. And then I noticed that one of the guys did have binoculars, but just was not using them.
Ooh.
So he was directed thereafter to use binoculars. So
did that guy get a reshoot then?
He did not.
He did not.
Mm-mm.
But start using the binoculars now.
Yes. Yeah.
It's those are always tough calls to make, and I mean I wasn't there, but I have shot at Rockcastle before, and the first stage of the day in Thunder Valley.
Yeah.
And
because you're shooting into the sun.
And and we're like, in fact, it was the Bryans who were ROing that stage, and they're like, yeah, y'all, we're just gonna pretend not to look at our watches for like a half hour if that's cool with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it was bad. The shadow over the hill was really bad, and I was freaking out the whole time. Like, man, I can't see those things. I just can't.
Were you limited division at the time?
No, I was shooting with a scope. I just wasn't any good. But I don't know. I mean, because it's calling hits we're still human.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
You can make a mistake.
It's hard.
It's hard,
and so that's what I'm saying is it's difficult. So I would use every tool given to me, because I want to be sure. Yep. I don't want to be the guy that doesn't call a hit when there's a hit or vice versa.
And there's plenty of shooter who's turned around and said, I hit that, and they did not hit that. So that is a tough situation to be in.
So on this particular shooter that I'm thinking of, there were two targets that he contested, and it was a split decision. One he hit, and they did not call hit. One he did not hit, and they did not call hit.
Oh.
Yeah. Because we had
Saul's
video.
well.
Well, I mean, yeah, all was well, but there would not have been an argument if they were using glass.
True. They were
Right.
they're close enough together that because sometimes it's hard to use glass on a long range because you got to find them
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
So that just having the binoculars isn't the only answer.
No, I hear you.
So that's an interesting scenario.
So, along with the match, one of the cool things that happened this match. So, I mentioned Chad Francis and David Power, right? Range master, executive match staff, whatever you want to call them, right? There's usually hierarchies of match staff. Executive match staff and then range officers, right?
We should do a cast on that.
Should. So, David Power and Chad Francis. They met and became friends at Blue Ridge, Pro-Am, RO in those matches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very first Pro-Am, Katie Francis was, Chad's daughter, was an RO at 13 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. However long ago we decided the Pro-Am started.
Mm-hmm.
David Power's son, Wyatt, also was, RO at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Wyatt Power and Katie Francis were CROs on a couple stages. So, the torch has been passed, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. So when you were saying, did you get to hear David Power call a hit? No, but I got to hear Wyatt Power do it, which was cool.
Does he do it the same?
It's, I don't know, because I've never been on a stage where David Power has called hit. I've heard him do it, for the podcast.
Like Jeff Foxworthy's kids can tell me a redneck joke, but it's not going to be the same.
But what I'm saying is Wyatt and Katie killed it, and it was cool to see them do that. And I don't know, I feel like passing the love of the game and the respect for the game and the desire to help other people in the game along from generation to generation is a really cool thing.
Yes.
So
I would
that
definitely agree with
that was
that.
one thing that was really exciting.
I've
And Wyatt had some
definitely
great
watched
calls.
that from the sidelines with Katie. I couldn't pick Wyatt out of a lineup. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, just keep your ears peeled, and he sounds exactly like his dad. He's funny like his dad too. It's cool. So this is a fun factor. This is a totally fun match. It was a good time. I really enjoyed it. The stages were well laid out. There were quick stages. They had plenty of opportunity to gain time by moving faster, which I like. I like that about matches, And
I do as well.
yeah, I would definitely shoot this one again for sure. This is a good match. Funny things that happened at the match. My buddy DJ Petro, his open shotgun went down, which is weird because it runs every time.
They always say that.
They do.
And then it seems like they're always saying that when their shotguns aren't working.
Yeah, he broke a bolt or something and had to borrow one from the Brazilians. Luckily, most of the Brazilians shoot open. So
The Brazilians imported parts into the country.
no, they actually. I'm not going to comment because I don't know the details of that.
Oh yeah, I was just kidding. I don't want to get that.
They might have.
I don't want to get the
guns.
Brazilian, not terrorists.
They might
in
be
trouble.
using loaner guns,
True. Yeah.
which is perfectly legal.
Right.
So, and then other funny things, just random parking lot shenanigans. Again, it took me an hour to get from my truck to the front of the Rockcastle. Another side opportunity. They had a cornhole tournament to benefit Generation 3 gun.
Oh, what now?
Cornhole? Throwing sandbags in sandbags. It's sandbags, right?
Was there a flood?
All right.
Not that.
We
kind
got
of
to wrap
sand?
this up. Stop dragging this shit on, man. You know what I'm talking about. Cornhole.
No, I don't.
You don't?
No.
Jesus Christ.
That does sound like something I would pretend, but in fact, I am
do you go
oblivious.
to social events that are not shooting related?
What?
So it's a game where there's boards set up, and each of the boards has a hole, and you stand on either side like horseshoes, and you toss beanbags. That's what I was looking for. You toss beanbags into the hole. Do you know what I'm talking about now?
Yeah.
Yeah, cornhole.
We don't call it cornhole.
What do you call it? Tossing bags?
Yeah, we should toss the beanbags into the hole.
Jesus Christ.
I'm like, no, Grandma, I don't want to play.
Yeah, we don't call it football.
play
call
Xbox
it,
now?
We call it throwing the pigskin around.
The what? Oh, no, we could never say that up here. That would hurt somebody's feelings.
So anyway, fun factor, the funny things that happen in the match, generally all in the parking lot. It's good times. We shall never speak of them again.
On the mic.
Correct.
Well, I don't know, Dave. I mean, I have to say, Pro-Am gets a lot of flack from years past.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say
For what?
Random thing. We're trying to wrap it up.
Right.
I've heard lots of things, and it was nowhere near on my radar screen at all.
Mm-hmm.
2 hours ago. But I mean, based on what some of the stuff you've talked about, maybe it's something I should consider for next year. You might have changed my mind.
Well, so I had not had this on my radar either because I heard same things. A lot of flack. You know, it's a party with a match attached, right? That's what I had heard.
Mm-hmm.
But when they brought on Brian Corey and Mike Sexton, I know those guys' reputation from other matches, and I knew that it would be a good match because it's a great venue. They have a great canvas to paint on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was not disappointed. I would go and shoot it again, and I think that – so I was not at those previous Rockcastle matches or Rockcastle Pro-Am matches, but from the people that I've spoken to that were, they did an excellent job of turning it around. So thumbs up.
Yeah, no, that's definitely what we were hoping to hear when we heard that the guard was changing a little bit on it. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Good times. So that, Adam, is the match recon of the Rockcastle Pro-Am for 2017. This is probably the longest match recon we've ever done. 90 minutes, buddy.
I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it was action packed.
I think we got a lot of good stuff in there.
I mean, there's about 5 minutes you're gonna have to trim out of there, but
I think if we trim it down to just the match stuff, it's probably about 32 minutes worth of podcast.
So we got 2 episodes.
No, but this, as always, Adam, it's a good time to do this with you. So I appreciate you being here and participating in it and bringing up the interesting topics and side tangents.
There we go. Just the Andy Richter of the 3 Gun Show. You're my Conan.
Hey, before you take off, be sure to check out the show notes at 3gunshow.com for links to things that we discussed in the podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Armalite, the original. Armalite rifles put the AR in AR-15. The rifles themselves come with 1 8 twist barrels, match barrels, 18-inch or 13.5-inch with a 15-inch or 12.5-inch handguard, Timney trigger, Luth AR stock, adjustable gas system, tunable comp, a patented tunable comp. This thing's ready to go right out of the box for a 3-gun with no additional modifications other than putting on a nice optic. I myself use a Vortex Viper PST 1-6 when I'm shooting TAC Ops or their Spitfire when I'm shooting limited. Check them out at armalite.com. A quick reminder that if you enjoyed this podcast, consider supporting the show on Patreon for as little as $5 per month. That's like 3 rounds of 9mm per episode. Patreon.com/3gunshow. That's Patreon.
If you are finished, unload, show clear.